So, I'm here to talk about rich insights from the book Lessons from 100,000 Code Calls. This is a book by Stewart Rogers. As you guys might know, and as I have mentioned on the channel, I'm really into sales. As a salesman, as a sales development representative, this is something that I'm thinking about around the clock. How do we get better at sales? How do we sell more things? How do we set more appointments? How do we just get a lot better at sales? And in that journey, as I've mentioned, I found that books, sales books by sales masters, are a really great resource if you want to improve your skills, you want to improve your knowledge, and you want to get a lot better at selling your stuff. All right. So this might be helpful to you if you're a salesman, you're working a sales job, you're doing some kind of sales development work. This might be helpful to you. So Stuart Rogers is one of those, I guess you could call him a legendary salesman. One who has made over 20,000 cold calls. In my book is a legend, right? Um, and so Stuart Rogers is one of those guys, except he's made a lot more than 20,000 cold calls. Like you can tell by the title of the book, Lessons from 100,000 cold calls. Man, have you ever done 100,000 anything in your life? Like I think that's pretty rare. Now, I think most of us, um, we've probably made, I don't know if we've even taken 100,000 steps. Of course, we have had to, just walking around since you were a kid. So, at least we've done that. So that's good. Um, and we've probably had more than 100,000 heartbeats, right? Because your heart is beating like every minute you get so many. So we've certainly most likely done over 100,000 heartbeats, probably way more. I don't know the exact number. So that's good. We've certainly breathed in and out probably more than 100, right? More. So we've done like maybe three basic things, all of us, that just come free with life. You just kind of get those as long as your heart is ticking and you're getting more days. You keep on moving. But I don't think that most of us have even lived 100,000 days. I don't even know that it's possible for anybody to live 100,000 days. Because if a year has got what, 365 days, that means a decade has got around 3,500 days. Um, and 100 years would be around 35,000 days. That's 100 years. So as you can see, none of us is gonna live 100,000 days. So quickly you run out of things that you've done over 100,000 times. Like you're not even just gonna live 100,000 days. It's simply not gonna happen for any one of us. If 100,000 days, if 100 years is just 35,000 days, so we're actually not gonna get. So there's very few things that people have done 100,000 times. Now, if you were to do something 100,000 times in your professional life, like think about it, like if you were a basketball player, if you were to attempt 100,000 shots, hey, you'd probably be a legend too. You'd probably be like one of the highest scoring NBA players of all time, simply because you've done this 100,000 times. If you were in the game of football, if you had carried the ball for 100,000 yards, hey man, you'd be probably the highest scoring touchdown rusher in all of football history. Because the top guys that have been like legends, they might have like 18,000 yards or 20,000 yards or whatever the numbers are gonna be in the Hall of Fame, right? So 100,000 anything, and that's really the first big rich lesson from this book, Lessons from 100,000 Cold Calls, is you're not gonna you're not gonna you're not gonna see the richest returns on the stuff that you're doing professionally when you've done it 3 times, when you've done it 5 times. But if you are one of those guys that can go the way to these legendary numbers, like I said, anything beyond 20,000 code calls in my book is legendary. And this guy has gone up over the course of a career to more than 100,000 code calls. Now I think he's probably made way more than 100,000. 100,000 is probably just the minimum he could put down for the title of the book. But there are sales legends like this guy and others that have made more than 100,000 cold calls. And so if you can do something to those kinds of numbers, man, you got it made. You got it made. Like I'm talking about, if this was in the game of basketball and you had made 100,000, anything in the game of basketball, whether it's 100 2-point shots attempted, 100,000 3-point shots attempted, whether this is 100 blocks, right? 100,000. I mean 100,000 blocks, 100,000 steals. Any of those, instantly you'll be one of the best players to ever play the game. So that should be your mindset as well in cold calling in sales. Is you really gotta go hard. You gotta go for the money. You gotta go for the big numbers. Now, the second lesson is really tied to this, which is, guys, to be able to do 100,000 reps in any industry, whether you are a salesman, you are a cold caller, or whether you are a baseball player, to attempt 100,000 attempts at bat, to do 100,000 anything, whether you are a car racing driver, to attempt 100,000 miles racing, even 100,000 miles racing, you're gonna become really good really fast. But the thing is, to amaze 100,000 anything in your professional career, it's a process that takes time, because with these 100,000 cold calls, you ain't gonna do them. 100,000 cold calls, you ain't gonna do them in 1 week, in 1 month, not even in 1 year, right? It's gonna be something that is gonna take a long time. Potentially, some people, it might take them 3 years, 5 years. If you are really unbelievable and you are working 15 hours a day, you might be able to, and you're doing nothing else, just making cold calls, you might be able to do it in 2 years, but or in a year. But as you can see, like, to be able to do 100,000 cold calls is gonna take you a long time. It might take, if you're going slower, it might take you 10 years. So that's the second big lesson, is you gotta be in it for the long run. Like that's how you're gonna reach those legendary numbers and the big paychecks that come with it. Like and in closing, related to this, to these lessons from the book, lessons from 100,000 cold calls, let me leave you with this, which is very related about time, that you gotta be in it for the long term. For the long term, everybody is amazed at LeBron James scooping up all these awards, winning championships, being named one of the greatest players of all time, and setting records, like breaking records, like scoring records, and all kinds of things. But everybody forgets that LeBron has been playing the game of basketball since literally he was a little toddler, okay? Since literally he was a young, he was in the game of basketball. So literally, like, he's got like um, probably going on, 30, 40 years that he's been playing the game of basketball. So just think about how long you've been cold calling. Have you even been cold calling for 5 years, 10 years? So you gotta be in it for the long run. That's the only way you're gonna become one of these